minutes and you can do that, you're gonna be really good.
Yeah. I'm sure he doesn't like to be team captain.
He doesn't want to be anymore because he's done it the last like 5 or 6 times. So he wants a break, which I understand. Yeah. Kind of over it.
Team captain since Earth Science.
Yeah, it's been a while. And he's for sure tired of that, so he needs a break. Yeah, it happens. You can only do something but so much before you're like, all right, somebody else take a stab at this. Why am I the only one doing it? You know? Sure, that's kind of how he's feeling lately. That's all right. Somebody else volunteered. I can't remember who, but somebody else volunteered, so.
Asher volunteered to be the team captain.
Okay, there you go. Couldn't remember who it was, but I knew it wasn't him. So you guys gonna be doing anything for spring break? Are you planning a trip or anything this year?
I'm
Just hanging out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Chill at home.
Yeah, same thing. It's next year we're getting a 2-week long spring break in our I've done next year's calendar and gotten it all straightened out, so that would be nice.
In my binder it says we will have no break except
Not to spring break, yeah.
till spring.
This cause chemistry has like the way it spaces out, it's a little tricky to squeeze them all in. You gotta kind of.
You'll only have like there's no break till 4/1.
Yeah, spring break. We're just gonna plow through from here on out. So plowing through. We'll get there. Gonna be a busy couple of weeks for us, because it's gymnastics meet season, and we have 2 out-of-town meets.
Out of town?
We're due, this weekend is a meet in Roswell. And that's just normal. Then we have off, no, this weekend is Roswell, next weekend is our home meet, we'll be at our home gym. The following weekend, we'll be in Florida, then we have a week off, then we'll be in Texas, then we have a week off. And then
Week off in
we have
spring?
one. Then we have 2 weeks off, and then we have the state championship. 2 weeks off, no, 3 weeks off, and then we have the regional championship. And then regional championship, and then we have Easterns is the 26th, so 2 weeks off and then Eastern Nationals. If we qualify. So we're going to be busy. We're going to Florida, and then we're going to Texas for meets. So
Car?
we're gonna fly to Texas,
Oh.
but we will probably drive to Florida.
That's a long drive.
Yeah, Cole just did it. Cole just went back on Saturday, and he drove the whole way
What?
to Texas, because that's where he's in school. So he drives the whole way back. It's a long way. Basically, you get on I-20 and you don't get off until you're well inside the state of Texas. It's a long way down I-20. There's not a lot of turns.
Driving.
Yeah, it's long. It's about 12 hours. So, but he only stops for gas.
From Georgia to started like on 6, I think. 6 o'clock in the morning and came and back at 10.
Yeah, and he'll do that drive, and he'll stop like twice for gas, bathroom, food, and then he just keeps going. He just plows through. He commits. When we took him out there for freshman year last year, we did like about halfway, and then spent the night, and then finished out the other half, and then we did the same thing on the way back. We stopped, but he does not stop when he does it by himself. He just plows straight ahead. So it's crazy because it's a lot, and he does it.
Is Drew a senior?
No, he's a junior.
Junior?
Hmm?
So he's gonna only be there for last time.
Yeah, next year is his last year, which he's very happy with. He would like to start a life. He's tired of school. Not a fan of school. Some people just start.
When did he start?
Well, like everybody
He
else.
started in biology?
Oh, no, no, he started in juniors. Let me see, he's doing chem. So he did chem, physical, and earth at the lab rats level. He's gonna do biology next, that'll be last. And then at the juniors level, he did biology, chem, and earth. I think the only one that I think he did physical too. I think he did physical. You do physical? No,
Yeah.
biology, chem,
Yeah.
physical. Yeah, he did physical. I think he did earth and physical. I think he did all 4 of the junior. I'd have to go look, but I think he did all 4 of the junior. And then, I think he'll be the only one that's gone all the way through all 4 of the junior, and then repeat all 4 of the slab rats level ones. Yeah, so,
Obviously.
yeah, because he lives here, but yeah. I think he'll be the first one to do that, which is good, because it gives me an idea of what he remembers from juniors when he does lab rats. I'm like, okay, do you remember this? This was 4 years ago, but we covered this. Do you remember it? So,
Oh,
yeah. And I'm toying with the idea that when he leaves, instead of teaching 1 class a week, I'm thinking about teaching on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And rotating out 2 years apart. So that would mean next year's biology. So then the first year he's gone will be Earth. So it would be like Earth on Tuesday and Chem on Earth on Tuesday. Hey, and Chem on Wednesday. And then the next year it would be physical on Tuesday, biology on Wednesday. So I'd keep them staggered by 2 years. So instead of having to wait 4 years for a class to come around, you only have to wait 2. So technically, you could get all your science done in 2 years if you took both classes, if you were that crazy. But otherwise, you can kind of come in whenever you want, because that's one problem I run into is there are kids, boys and girls. There's kids who's like, all I need is biology. And I'm like, well, it'll be 3 more years before I teach that again. You know what I mean? If they really want to do it with me, but it's just that I've already done it, I only do them once every 4 years. So I'm considering spacing them out like that so that we can get more done. And I can get more people in, which would be fun. Well, we'll see. Don't know yet. I'm gonna have to do some like organizational stuff to make that work. Because I have to figure out what to do about mainly it's a storage thing, because right now, like I have my stuff, everything for chemistry is upstairs. Where I have like my closet for the labs and stuff. But everything that's not chemistry is downstairs in the basement. Yeah, or there's a room up there where I have stuff, but I don't have the room to have everything up for 2 classes. So I'm gonna have to like really reorganize and rearrange it. That's what I want to do. Oh, yeah, Annabelle. Thank you. It's very cold. Yeah, we need this spray or something. Yeah, it's getting stuck. Yeah.
What? Where's Lucy?
Still got a minute. Yeah, the door's a little, you gotta work it because it's cold. This one's starting to get loose, so we're gonna have to mess with them both to make them work. Did you have fun in the snow?
Yeah.
Yeah? Did you do anything?
I played with my friends and we would do this thing where when we were sledding, we would connect all our sleds with the ropes and then pull.
Oh, that's fun. Did you guys have fun? I saw your mom posted pictures of you in the snow. You had a good time?
And I got stuck in a tiny hole. And I got stuck in a tiny forest because of the hill slide.
You got stuck in a what?
Tiny forest.
Tiny forest. Oh, okay. Yeah. We had video from a few years ago when it snowed. My neighbor, he was sledding down his hill. And of course, at the bottom was like a pile of debris that you would smack into to stop you. But he borrowed my husband's got a GoPro, that's the 360 kind. So he held it out like this. And the whole way, got great video of him going down the hill with the GoPro.
Can you show it to us?
I don't even know where it is. No, I have no idea. I think it's on my husband's phone or something. I am going to show you though, towards the end of class today. Jason's a drone pilot, so he gets really great video. He got some fabulous 4K video of the ice on the trees from Sunday. I think it was Sunday morning. It was awesome video. So he did post that this morning. So I am going to show you that so you can admire just how pretty it all was, because it was beautiful. The sun coming up over the river due east like that. It made it all glimmery and sparkly and silvery, and it was quite cool.
How long have you had that lava lamp?
Oh, I don't know. Probably shoot.
Years.
Yeah, years. I don't know how many. 6 or 7 probably. It takes a little while to heat up. Still probably heating up. Yeah, it's not moving yet. Heating up. Doing its thing. All right. Well, Lucy will get here when Lucy gets here, but we can go ahead and get started. Are we ready? Yeah. Yeah. You got your stuff out? Binders out? Ready to go?
Yeah, I'm sorry I did that. It's just I couldn't get the door open.
You're okay. It's sticky. That door is for sure sticky. Yeah, it is. It's cold, and that door is sticky. Somebody got stuck last week too. I don't.
I have some of the stuff I thought you meant. Y-axis.
All right, good job. Good questions. Good, smart. Prepared for, bleh, I can't even speak. Smart, you are prepared for questions. I cannot talk. All right, so we're going to talk about enthalpy and entropy. We've talked about enthalpy a bit. Now we're going to talk about entropy, and we're going to like compare and contrast the two. So somebody remind me, what is enthalpy? All right, Annabelle, what's enthalpy?
The change in energy in a system.
Right, so enthalpy is the total energy of a system, and we measure it by the change of energy in a system. And then you know what's entropy? Yeah, it's a measure of a system's disorder or order, disorder. How organized is a system? Okay, so that can be kind of like a loosey-goosey definition. You'd be like, I don't know what that means. It's all right. You'll understand it a little bit better as we talk. So enthalpy has something to do with the energetic content of a system or molecule. But entropy has something to do with how that energy is stored. So we know energy is stored within a molecule or a system, and the entropy is how it is stored, how it is stored. So if you look here, this graph, this chart here will show you. You got temperature over here on your, which axis is this? The one that goes up and down. Do you know? It's a y-axis, because you imagine if you drew a Y here, the stem would just keep going down, down, down. True Y-axis. And what do we call the one that goes across the bottom? That's X. Very good. Okay. So on your Y-axis, what do we have? Can you guys read what here is on your Y-axis? Temperature. What's on the X-axis down here? Right. And we're using joules at constant P. What do you think that means? Constant P. Pressure. Okay. And then we're giving our temperature in what scale? What do you see, Annabelle? What scale? Right right here.
Lydian, I'm kidding.
That's a good answer for musical stuff. Kelvin. We're giving it in Kelvin. Okay. So if you look here, as the temperature decreases, increases, sorry, right here, we have a solid and it's increasing. And then what's happening right there? Right, but look at what's going here. The energy is increasing, but the temperature is not increasing. So what's happening right there? Can you tell? It says solid to liquid. So what is that? It's melting point. Right here is your temperature. Yes, so as something is melting, that temperature is not changing. Neither is the enthalpy. But what is changing is your energy is increasing here. Yes. Oh, I thought you had a question. Yeah, which question?
Well, when you melt an ice cube, doesn't it change from cold to normal?
So here's the thing. You raise the temperature until you reach the melting point. But while something is melting, the temperature is exactly the same. It is whatever the melting point is. Which is also, if you were coming backwards, if we started up here as a liquid and it was becoming a solid, what would we call that?
Freezing.
Freezing. So freezing point and melting point are the same, right? What's the freezing point of water? In Celsius.
So 32 Fahrenheit equals 0 Celsius.
Right. And what's the melting point of water?
100.
Melting point. Yeah, 0 Celsius. So 0 Celsius is the freezing and the melting point. It's the same, right? And then your boiling point.
Is 100.
Yeah, and it's also if you're going from a gas to a liquid. Right. So yeah. So this boiling point and when you're going from a liquid to a solid or a solid to a liquid, that temperature is not going to change while that change is going on. So while that temperature is going on, while that phase change is going on, the temperature is not going to change. But you can see that the energy does increase during that, but the temperature does not. And then you can see that continues here when you go to the next phase change, when you go from liquid to gas, and then from liquid to gas, and then as gas continues to heat up and spread out more, right? Yeah.
Water colored.
They're just accents.
Okay.
So there is a bias in nature towards a what in enthalpy. What will happen in enthalpy? So that's the internal energy, Annabelle.
Decreasing.
Towards decreasing energy. We want to chill. We want to chill, right? So reactions can happen when the enthalpy is what? Yes. Yes.
Transfer.
Well, yeah, so yes, transferred. So when energy is transferred into a system, there's going to be a reaction. It's either going to chemical reactions can only happen when your energy is happening. So you're transferring energy, which usually has to do with electrons moving around. So a reaction is favored if enthalpy decreases, okay? Because there's a bias towards decreasing enthalpy. All right, now I've done this experiment. Oh, sorry, did I miss a chair for you?
No,
Oh,
yeah, one of the screws can, it just needs to go.
Oh,
back in.
okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yes, no.
Yep. So this I've done before, and it didn't work very well because the slightest breeze will mess it up. But I'm gonna show you. This is yeah, I've done it. I did it outside last year, but it took way too long to make it work because you got to put the burner under a test tube and get it really hot, and then you drop in a gummy bear. And sometimes people call this the screaming gummy bear experiment. I love it. But if you watch, you'll see what happens here.
So you can't even breathe on it.
Oh, hang on, you can't hear him.
So you can't even breathe on it.
No, you can breathe on it, but the wind comes and moves it at all. It messes it up, which is what happened last year. Okay, you ready?
Right. Oh, you'll see just how much energy there actually is in one of these gummy bears. Here we go.
Wow.
Yes. Patience, guys. There.
Wow.
Wow. Gummy bear.
So it was almost like a jet engine, wasn't it? So that is all the energy stored in that gummy bear, and they released that. How were they releasing the energy? What was happening? What was happening?
They're putting it in the thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and adding heat, and then added heat to the point where it started to melt and the bond started to break.
Which made it release energy.
Very good. And you saw fire. So what kind of reaction was that probably? No?
Synthesis?
Looking for, you have oxygen present.
Oh, a combustion.
Combustion reaction, right? And as that combustion reaction went on, all that energy was released from those bonds. And as that energy was released from those bonds, you get all of that flame and all that smoke and everything came flying out, and you could really see the energy being released. Okay, so that's your energy. So there's also a bias in nature toward what, Everly? Towards increasing entropy. Okay, so decreasing enthalpy and increasing entropy in a system. And entropy is a measure of a what? Disorder of a system. So if we are increasing entropy, we are making things more or less orderly.
More.
Less orderly, right? Because we're making it more disorganized. If you have an increasing entropy, and entropy is disorganization, then there is a bias in nature towards things becoming less organized. And I'll show you in a little bit, but there's a great analogy about your bedroom. Does your bedroom clean itself? No, you have to clean it, don't you? If you don't clean it, what happens over time? It gets more disorganized, right? So there is a bias in nature towards things becoming less organized or more disorganized. Yes,
This
Annabelle.
reminds me of Newton's law of motion
Yeah, kind of.
with like the whole thing, because like an object that has one of them is an object at rest will remain an object at rest unless
Mm-hmm,
acted upon by an unbalanced force.
correct. Second law. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
No, first law, sorry. Second law is ethics, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, first law. So but what's happening here is things will become more disorganized if left to their own devices. And reactions happen. What happens, Emerson? When entropy, when your entropy increases, when things get more disorganized. Okay, because in that case, all of your energy is moving around and it's more likely to come in contact with something. And then a reaction is favored if the entropy, Everly, increases. A reaction is favored if the entropy increases. So as things get more and more disordered, they're more likely to react. All right, so let's look at this video, kind of clarifies it. Wow.
Good day, learners. Today, we are going to define entropy in the simplest and shortest way we can. So the best and easiest meaning we can give entropy is the amount of unusable energy of a system for every process as it approaches its end state. Second law of thermodynamics tells us that for every process, there will be a decay to your system, which also means a decrease to your efficiency. And that right there is your entropy. Imagine a machine running. As it runs, it creates entropy. Yes, it runs and do its purpose, but at the same time, it creates entropy. So it will eventually wear off and stop running. Or a human's body. As we live day by day, we create entropy until we approach our end state. Even the universe itself, even at this moment, it increases its entropy until it reaches its end state, or some may call it as the heat death of the universe.
that's a
So
little
that's it.
concerning.
This is Earthbend. Learning has never been this easy for anyone, anywhere. Have a nice day.
So in this case, we're describing entropy as heading towards its end state, which is it's like most disorganized, it's most not put together. So there's always a natural tendency for a reaction to move to the side with the maximum entropy and the minimum enthalpy. So let's watch this real quick, and then we have some graphics that'll help explain that. Maybe. Hello.
Enthalpy can be defined as the total heat content of a substance that is available for conversion to heat at constant pressure. It is measured in the units of energy such as joules or kilojoules per mole. We can also define the enthalpy in an alternative way. And that is the sum of the internal energy and the pressure volume product of a system. So H is equal to U plus P into V. That means total enthalpy is equal to internal energy plus pressure into volume. If you ask, can total enthalpy of a system be measured directly? The answer will be no. Because it is impossible to determine the absolute value of internal energy of the substances. Thus, the change in enthalpy is a more useful quantity than its absolute value. The change in enthalpy denoted by delta H. When the symbol delta precedes another symbol, it means final value minus initial value. So, delta H means final enthalpy minus initial enthalpy. For any process, the change in enthalpy according to equation 1 is given by delta H is equal to delta U plus delta P into V. If the pressure is held constant, then delta H is equal to delta U plus P into delta V. Since internal energy U, pressure P, and volume V are all state functions, So the enthalpy H is a state function too. As we already know, delta U is equal to Q plus W and work W is equal to minus P into delta V. So from equation 2, we can get at constant pressure, delta H is equal to Q. Then we can tell at constant pressure, the change in enthalpy will equal the heat consumed or released by the system. There can be a question, when is enthalpy low and high? As we know, enthalpy is related to both chemical potential energy and the degree to which electrons are attracted to nuclei in molecules. When electrons are strongly attracted to nuclei, there are strong bonds between atoms. Molecules are relatively stable and enthalpy is low. In contrast, when electrons are only weakly attracted to nuclei, there are weak bonds between atoms. Molecules are relatively unstable and enthalpy is high. Because strong bonds have low potential energy and weak bonds have high potential energy. Let's know about enthalpy diagram. An enthalpy diagram is a diagrammatic representation of enthalpy change in a process. The positive sign of delta H means that the enthalpy of the products is higher than that of the reactants. This increase in enthalpy appears as heat absorbed from the surroundings. So the reaction is an endothermic. The negative sign of delta H means that the enthalpy of the product is lower than that of the reactants. This decrease the enthalpy appears as heat evolves to the surroundings. So the reaction is an exothermic reaction. In summary, breaking bonds is endothermic and making bonds is exothermic. Properties of enthalpy change. Enthalpy is a state function because it depends only on initial and final state of the system, but not on the path or process taken. Enthalpy is an extensive property of the system, as it depends on the amount of the system. Enthalpy change for any cyclic process involving a thermodynamic substance is zero. Delta H for a reaction depends on the state of the product and the reactants. So if you like this video,
So the big points here, there were a lot of points, but the big points are back with enthalpy, and we said this the last couple weeks. Can you measure enthalpy? No.
You can't measure the change in
Right, and we measure the change in enthalpy. Hold on, let's wait for those. We measure the change in enthalpy how? What changes? What can we measure?
calorimeter.
Yeah, calorimetry. We measure a change in heat, and that's how we determine a change in energy, right? So that's how we determine a change in enthalpy. Now, here's the other one. They talked about breaking bonds and forming bonds. Forming bonds takes energy. So when you pull the energy together, what kind of a process do we have?
Exothermic.
Did it say exothermic? Endothermic. And then when we break bonds, releases the energy in the bond, and then we get exothermic, right? Right. Okay, so when both entropy and enthalpy favor Emerson, favor the reactants, the reaction does not occur. When they both favor the Everly products, the reaction goes to completion. When they oppose one another, the reaction reaches, Annabelle?
Equilibrium.
Equilibrium. Okay, we're going to be talking about equilibrium a lot. Actually, we're going to be doing a lab with equilibrium in like a week or two, and it's kind of cool to see. All right, reaction. Here we go. You have entropy and enthalpy, and if they are both pushing down here the same amount on this teeter-totter, nothing happens. But if your entropy increases, your enthalpy decreases. Over here, they're again pushing the same way. In this case, your entropy decreased and your enthalpy. What do we call that kind of relationship where if one goes up, the other goes down? If one goes down, the other goes up.
Can't.
Yeah, we have a specific proportionality term we use for that.
Mathematics?
Kinda. So let's see this. If I go out in the heat, I will sweat. So for me, sweating and heat are directly related. And the hotter it gets, the more I sweat. So I would call it directly proportional.
Inversely proportional.
Inversely proportional. So if something goes up and it causes something else to go down, we call that relationship inversely proportional or inverse proportionality. Proportional meaning the relationship between the two things. And then the inverse, what does inverse mean?
Opposite.
Opposite. Yeah. So one goes up, one goes down. Exactly. So they're inversely proportional. Here is your, I promised, there it is. Entropy, your second law of thermodynamics, your tidy room. Spontaneously, if you don't put energy in, you're going to get a messy room. If you put energy in, you're going to keep a tidy room. So everything will tend towards disorder if you don't put in energy. Right? Now, here's your best example of that. If I have an ice cube and I leave it on the table, it's gonna melt. Yeah, to keep it cold, what do I have to do?
In the freezer.
Right, and why? What's happening? What's the freezer doing to it?
It's making it cold.
Does the freezer work on its own?
No, it's not. It doesn't work. The ice is the same temp. The freezer is a colder temperature than the ice. So
Why? How's the freezer work? Like, what do you have to do to make it work? You have to plug it in.
No.
You have to plug a freezer in. Oh yeah, it's plugged in. Your fridge is plugged in. It's an electrical appliance. So if your freezer's plugged in, it's got a compressor, and that's causing the cold air. So it's requiring energy to take water and turn it into ice. Do we all agree with that? It requires energy to take water and turn it into ice. If I put that ice that now required energy to create on this table and I leave it there for a day, what will happen?
The water.
Yeah.
The ice will get melted.
The ice will melt, and then what will happen?
Then it will evaporate.
It'll evaporate because I stopped putting energy into the system. Now, the molecules in the water versus the gas versus the ice. How do the molecules in the ice look? Organized, disorganized?
They're organized.
They're very organized. They're in a crystalline structure. They're like little Legos, right? They're all organized in there. Completely organized. If I leave it over time, they're going to start to, when it melts, they're going to come more disorganized. They're going to start slipping past each other. And then when it becomes a gas, they're very disorganized.
They're gonna be like that.
Right, because if I don't put energy into a system, the entropy is going to increase spontaneously. Yes.
I just want to tell you something. So you know the car brand Santa Fe?
Santa Fe?
Yeah.
The Hyundai Santa Fe? Yeah.
Well, one time the other day I came across it and I jokingly said Santa Iron.
Santa Iron,
And
yeah.
that was and someone was like, "Huh?" And that was like, Fe is the symbol for iron.
That is, there you go. Yeah, it's Iron Santa. It's like Iron Man, but it's Iron Santa. Actually, Santa just means saint in Spanish. So that's what that's for. I don't know, faith, faith. I don't know. Faith? I'm not sure. All right, so I wanted to show you this real quick, and then we're gonna do a little online quiz together on entropy, enthalpy. But this is the video that Jason got on Sunday of the ice, and I just thought you would appreciate it because it was really beautiful. So it's in 4K. And this is all with the drone in our backyard.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, it's Jason's drone. Isn't that really pretty? Look at that off in the distance. That's right over the river. The river did not freeze because it's moving. It's gotta be really cold to freeze water. all this ice and snow now? It melted and then what? Vaporized. So if left to its own devices over time, what happened? It became, yeah, but it became more disorganized, right? Became gas, water vapor, gaseous water. And it became more and more disorganized with time. It was left alone.
I'm kind of sad that the snow is almost gone.
Yeah, me too. I think we'll probably get a little more. There's a chance, there was a chance next Tuesday. So I was keeping an eye on it in case we had to go virtual. But it's looking like it's not going to do it now. All right, so there's that. So let's give this a try, people, and let's see how we do. I'm going to have to real quick. Let me see.
You get 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Sure. Hang on. Gotta make sure she can see, because Lucy won't see it if I don't swap it back. All right, there we go. So here we are. We have a little quiz, and I will let you guys vote on the answers, and we'll see how we do. It's a 5-question quiz. It's real quick. All right. When can a reaction be said to be feasible? Meaning, when can it happen? If the entropy is positive, if the entropy is negative, if the enthalpy is positive, or if the free energy is negative. So you say when entropy is negative, okay, what do you say?
If the enthalpy is positive.
If the enthalpy is positive, what do you girls say? Take a guess. Well, if enthalpy goes up, then entropy, okay.
Entropy goes down. So if entropy is negative, that means it's the opposite of disorder. So then when you freeze it, energy, the bonds form.
So what should we answer? Who votes for if entropy is positive? No, who votes for if entropy is negative? Okay, and who votes for if enthalpy is positive? And how about one about free energy? So I think our most votes were for entropy is negative. Let's see. Uh-oh. Do we want to choose another one? See if, what? Why did it skip ahead all these questions? Hello. What? Question. Oh, we can't go back to 1. Okay, so here we are. The correct answer was this one up here. So it will give us, I think, at the end, the right ones. Maybe not. No. Oh no, it clicked it. Why did it do that? Hold on. Replay. Replay. Why is it not working? Ah. All right, here we go again. Do we want to try again for this answer for number 1?
Yeah.
Okay, what do we want to try now?
The energy change is negative.
You want to try this one? The free energy change is negative? Oh, that's the right one. So if the energy change is negative, then that means the enthalpy is negative. And entropy. Yeah, okay. All right. So what is a factor that affects lattice enthalpy? Okay, lattice would be like, I don't know.
Which is not.
I don't even know.
Which is not.
Lattice is like when you have, like in a crystal lattice, okay? Like the arrangement of the molecules. So what do we think?
I think it's chemical traits.
Chemical traits? What kind of compounds have a crystal lattice? Ionic compounds.
Charge. Ionic charge.
Ionic charge? Anybody else have a different answer? All right, we'll go for ionic charge. Let's see. Oh, chemical traits. Oh, there we go. All right, number 3. Which state of matter has the greatest entropy?
Solid.
Disorganization. Gas? Gas. The particles are everywhere. Everything's busy. All they're moving around. All right, which of the following is not a general property of ionic compounds? So you should know this. Ionic compounds, which is No, we're good. Oh, at the quiz, you mean? That's okay. I don't care. Oh, it just did it for us because the time is up. Okay. Well, it finished for us because our time is up. So, that's all right. So, well, this quiz didn't work the way I wanted it to. Oh, well. Let's go back to our slides then. All right, so what I wanted to show you now is this. All right, so next year, biology, should you be interested? I want to show you what it's going to look like.
We're gonna learn about the human, we're gonna learn about the human anatomy.
We will learn human anatomy, and we actually do it in a really fun way. You trace out your body on a piece of big white paper, and then I have a whole booklet for you that comes and a whole bunch of pieces of paper that come out to they're almost like life-size organs that fit on your body, and you're gonna have to put everything where it belongs. It's anatomy on it's like a giant version, and it's your homework for your entire fourth quarter is to just work on this book. Yeah. Yep. So that's what I'm about to show you.
Dissect things.
So yeah, I wanted to show you. So this is our chemistry.
Awesome.
Here's biology. So we're gonna start on the 12th next year. And I wanted you to see what we would be doing. So we've got nature, that's the first one, the nature of chemistry of life science. So that's our using the microscope for our first lab. Then we do the biosphere, which is all the living things on Earth. And we have a lab where we add fertilizer to algae and watch it grow. Then we have ecosystems and populations, and we do one on ecosystems and food chains with weather and whooping cranes. That's a fun lab. Then we have humans in the biosphere, acid rain and seeds. Then we get to some really fun stuff. So here comes the cellular biology stuff. So cellular structure and function, we're going to model a cell membrane and its permeability. We're going to have, it's actually a chemical reaction that takes place, and it's very cool. Then we do a plant pigment and photosynthesis. You ever see those plants? Like my neighbor has some right there, I have some right there. Like their leaves are purple, but you probably already know that chlorophyll is what's responsible for photosynthesis, and chlorophyll is green. So do those purple plants? How do they make food?
I just want to ask a question.
Yeah.
What color is arsenic?
I don't know. I think it's white is when it's a powder. I know when it's dissolved, it's tasteless, colorless kind of thing. So that's why people use it as a poison. Yeah. Then we get a fall break. Then we do cellular processes. How long will I be blue? That one is involves a chemical change too. We have a bunch of test tubes and they change color over time. And then this one, look at this. Look at lab 8, regeneration in planarians. Does anybody know what a planarian is? It's
A mix of a plant and
It's
air
actually
and
a flatworm, and they're not microscopic, but they're really tiny. So what we use are our stereoscopes, which are microscopes that have two opticals for your eyes, two oculars, and you look down into it and everything still looks a little 3D. And we're going to take tiny, tiny blades, and crazy enough, we're actually going to cut off pieces of these worms and watch them grow back.
Are they live?
Yeah, they're alive. They don't have pain nerves, so it doesn't hurt them. They don't have any.
Body is just one big tug on the outside.
It depends on the worm, but yeah. And then this is one of my favorites. So genetics. We're going to model meiosis, which is the process of making gametes. It's how sex cells are made, sperm and eggs are made. It's how you take how you get half that DNA into those cells. Then we're doing extracting your own DNA. You're going to get to physically see your own DNA, which is really cool.
Test?
And then we're going to do a lab where we are using DNA electrophoresis, which is a process that they use in science labs, forensic labs, and it will help us identify someone who committed a crime. There's a whole story about a crime, and this person's DNA was left at the scene, and we're going to use electrophoresis to match that fingerprint to another one. Maybe. You might. All right, so then number 12, using DNA to identify human remains. That's a lab, it's a paper lab, but it's based on a real historical story.
and then variations of population. But look at this. Do you see what says ongoing? Okay, so I'm building a lab for you guys that will be completely originally 100% ours. It's not what I'm getting from anywhere. And it's going to be the most involved, most complex lab I've ever built. You are going to be cold case detectives. You will be acting as cold case detectives. And you will be given a file, a physical file from the 1990s of a homicide case, a murder case that was left unsolved.
Is it
And there-
real?
And there was DNA at the scene. And you're going to be determining who that is. You're going to be able to use online computer databases that I'm going to create, but you're going to use this person's genetic family tree to identify the perpetrator 30 years later. So it's going to be really cool because they're doing that right now for real, like every day. They're identifying people that were involved in crimes or bodies that were unidentified. They're able to do that now, like on a daily basis, and it's still brand new. It's like technology's like 5 years old. So you'll get to do that. And then we're going to do a lab called Naturally Selecting Sprites, which is one of my favorites. That one I wrote too. That's my own lab. And that's a natural selection lab. Then we do competing for resources using dichotomous keys to work with index fossils. Fossils, cool. And then we get into our microbiology. So it's controlling bacterial growth, comparing protists, which are single-celled organisms, investigating stomata, which are the little breathing, I'm getting to plant biology here. Those are the little breathing openings on leaves that allow for gas exchange for plants. Bending roots, we're going to have some roots bend in a certain direction because we're going to do something specific to them. And then here comes the part you were waiting for. Look at here. Oh my, lab 23, comparing invertebrate body parts microscopically by observation and macroscopically by dissection of a phylum Annelida specimen. That's a worm. Then the following week is observation and dissection specimens from class Echinidae, Asteroidea, and Cephalopodia. This would be sea stars, sea urchins, and squid.
Oh,
Then we get observing adaptations of live fish. Yes, we will have live goldfish that we are not going to harm. We're just going to watch, and somebody gets to take them home. And dissection of class Osteichthyes specimen. That's a fish we're going to dissect. Observation and dissection of class Amphibia specimen. So that would be your frog dissection. And then observation dissection specimen from class Mammalia. That is a pig.
I have a get.
You all will dissect a fetal pig.
So the reason why I said oops was because I have 2 games with Splatoon which have squid.
Okay.
And also I like fried calamari.
Okay. So then we do, these are the human biology labs here, the human anatomy. So you get digestion of dairy products lab, locating touch receptors, muscle, skin, bones, limbs, lung volume, and direction of blood flow. Touch and grow. This is a fun one. We have an incubator, by the way. So you'll be able to touch certain things and then put it on a petri dish and watch it grow bacteria. Touch and grow results will be last. So it's going to be fun. So in our last 5 minutes, I'm going to give you a word search for enthalpy and entropy that y'all can do for the next couple of minutes until it's time for that. Okay. Here you go. See how many you can find, just for fun.
Oh, and I circle the words that aren't on the word search that I just randomly find.
Okay, I don't blame you. All right, and then we'll stop this. No, that's for you to keep. You keep it.
And I cross out the words I'm supposed to find.
Yeah, you're fine. Well, we only ended 3 minutes early, so not that quick.